So yesterday we told you about H.R. 1. The bill in the House of Representatives would reform campaign finances and government ethics. It also focuses on expanding voting rights, including making Election Day a national holiday. That is not a revolutionary idea. Plenty of countries do that, right? And that would allow voter registration on Election Day as well and online. But the idea of making it easy for people to vote is really troubling for some Republicans. Big surprise there. We showed you Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell of Kentucky trashing it on the Senate floor. We're going to show it again, and then we'll talk to the Reverend William Barber on the other side.
Their bill would make Election Day a new paid holiday for government workers and created an additional brand new paid leave benefit for up to 6 days for any federal bureaucrat who decides they'd like to hang out at the polls during any election. Just what America needs, another paid holiday and a bunch of government workers being paid to go out and work. I assume our colleagues on the other side, on their campaigns. This is the Democrat plan to restore democracy? A brand new week of paid vacation for every federal employee who'd like to hover around while you cast your ballot?
Just what Americans don't want, another paid holiday. Right. So joining us now by phone is Reverend William Barber, President of Repairers of the Breach. Reverend Barber, welcome to Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Well, thank you so much. Thanks so much. Tell Roland I'm thinking about it. About the voice issue, but we certainly are.
Thank you.
I listened at McConnell and sound like a modern day George Wallace, standing between voting rights and the people. Senators and members of the Congress are the last ones to talk about people being on vacation, as many vacations as they take. That's number one. Number two, we have vacations for dead presidents, but we don't want to have an election day to vote for living people who are running for president. But I think also we have to be careful because, everything they do is strategic. So he comes out and he focuses on the national holiday, which is just one piece of it. But he doesn't also talk about this bill is talking about making same-day registration, a fixture or automatic registration at 18, a part of it, or a paper trail so that you don't just have an electronic trail, electronically, what the votes come, but you actually have a paper trail. They're also talking about nullifying photo ID by simply having signature attestation if you don't have an ID, which is fact what we had in North Carolina before they started messing with things. We had signature attestation. If you lied, you got a 5-year felony. We had no cases at all of so-called voter fraud. So, it's to hear him stand there and joke and laugh. Actually, I don't think he was laughing because it was funny. He's laughing because he's scared. The reality is you're talking about the South. Yeah. If you register 30% of the unregistered black voters in the South and can connect them with poor whites, progressive poor whites, and working class whites and Latinos, you have a whole new political map. That's what we're focusing on in the Poor People's Campaign. If that were to happen, North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Texas, Virginia, and possibly Alabama, and even maybe Mississippi, new battlegrounds. I mean, they flip. None of those states are really red states. They're unorganized voter suppression states. And the Republicans know that because they have counted on 13 southern states for the last 50 years to ensure them 171 electoral votes going into any presidential election. That's been their game plan. On the flip side, lastly, I'm concerned, though, about Democrats because I haven't read in this bill, and I haven't read it all the way, that them talking about fully restoring the Voting Rights Act. Because without restoring the Voting Rights Act, we don't have pre-clearance. And they've had over 5 years to do that ever since June 25, 2013. Lastly, in this bill, they talk about throwing redistricting to an independent group, but just throwing it independent, taking it out of the hands of state legislatures without putting some clear guidance as it relates to race is not enough because all of this is based on race. I mean, this is not about blocking Democrats from the poll. Voter suppression is about people of color, period. It affects, white people. In fact, one of the ways it affects white people is people who get elected through voter suppression, suppressing the vote of black people. Once they get elected, they pass policies that mostly negatively hurt white people.
Yep. Absolutely.
And that's the story and the things we've got to begin to organize and teach around. That's what we're doing, the Poor People's Campaign. We're actually looking now at every district in the country, voting area, where just a 3 or 5% increase in the number of poor people voting and properly politicized could fundamentally change elections all across the board. So I'm glad to see this H-1 bill. It is an omnibus bill. And I will say this on your show, my biggest prayer and thing I'm discerning is that Democrats are not doing this because they know that they're never going to get it through the Senate.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because the reality is everything that's put in that bill, now Democrats should have done it when they had control of both the House and the Senate.
You're exactly right. Absolutely.
It's way late, And I come from North Carolina. I think Dr. Malvo is up there. People, we won same-day registration and early voting, but it took us 25 years fighting Democrats.
I hear you. Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Democrats were in control. It took us 25 years. Now, everybody talks about what the Republicans have done now, or the extremists who call themselves Republicans, and how they gutted voting laws after Shelby in North Carolina and all over the country. 26 states have passed voter suppression laws since 2010. Many have done it since 2013. But the reality is we had to fight Democrats for 25 years. And even in this recent election, look, we're doing some analysis now of not what did the voter suppression people do in Georgia and Florida and in Mississippi, but what didn't Democrats do?
Yep. Come on, Rev. I'm telling you. Thank you so much for bringing that up.
Did they really put the kind of troops in there with Stacey and Gillum early? Did they really support EPSI? Trump put 150 workers on the ground in Mississippi. I don't think the National Party did any of that. And EPSI turned 4 Trump districts in Mississippi without any real help.
Yeah.
So you see what I'm saying? So I'm glad we're talking about this. It's the most underreported story that we've been talking about in the national news. We talk about Russia, but the reality is Trump did not win because of Russia. Trump won because of voter suppression targeted at black people. And the ground was prepared long before he was ever a candidate.
Absolutely. And we still have a long way to go with rectifying that problem. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Take care now.
Absolutely.
You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it.